Welcome to Balance Boldly, the podcast for ambitious women in business and a few brave men. I'm your host, Naketa Thigpen, balance and relationship advisor, moving you beyond simply surviving the burnout of work and life and into a space where you can thrive in life, love, and business. We are in season 11, people! Woo! Can you believe it? 11 seasons of the Balance Boldly podcast. This is so exciting for me on so many levels as we move into the close of 2018 and we just get ready to embrace every single opportunity that is waiting for us on the other side of the year. This is exciting. This is phenomenal. And that's why this season of 11 is all about breaking boxes. We're breaking expectations, we're letting go of old relationships, we're welcoming in new, we're making sure that we're not afraid to let go of those old woulda, coulda, shouldas and moving forward with excitement, not nervousness, with anticipation, not anxiety. And I know sometimes our bodies feel like they go hand in hand, and the reality is physically, neurologically, they do. But if you just shift your mindset to embrace the positive aspect of it, you can really get ready to go full steam ahead. If you want to use the car analogy, be on full throttle to get in the lane of every possibility that you didn't even know that was waiting on the outside. I'm so excited for you. I'm excited for me and everyone that I'm connected to. So today, as we step forward and we get ready for that, I am so beyond, I don't want to use the word excited again, but I'm in anticipation. I'll say that. With our next guest, Kristie Bergey, who is a phenomenal woman that I had the opportunity to meet roughly about 6 months ago at one of my exclusive kind of private meeting groups that I go to here in the city. It's not one I host, but it's when I get the opportunity to be in the room full of these change makers and decision makers and these really incredible women and men that are in this room. And Kristie is a world traveler. She is phenomenal. She has a background in event planning. She's an entrepreneur. She's owned businesses. She creates new businesses. She understands the investment world. And more than anything, as a part of her role as an associate with Very Real Estate, she gets people into new leases in less than 3 hours. Hashtag that, less than 3 hours. Kristie, welcome to Balance Boldly. How are you today?
Thank you. That's an awesome introduction. I'm fabulous. Thank you so much for having me on today.
I'm so excited that you're here. Now, you and I have had multiple conversations. We have been loving on each other for at least the last few months of the 6+ months that we've known each other, and just enjoying the natural, organic chemistry that comes when you are a relationship builder and you don't have to press your way into anyone's home. You know what I mean? Like just feeling like we need to force anything. And I really appreciate the fact that you're all ease and flow. Like that is the way that I would describe you. You are just ease and flow.
That's the way about you. You're so ease and flow.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. So I want to give everyone an opportunity to just meet you as this mogul that you are that's making all these moves and doing these great things, and talk about the reality of some of the things that have kind of stunted your growth as you were trying to getting to the next level of who you are, to use Michelle Obama's term, who you were becoming to this moment, and as you become, moving forward. Tell everyone about you.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, my name is Kristie Bergey, and I grew up in the suburbs of Philadelphia, and I moved to the city about 15 years ago after graduating from Temple University. I was not an ace student. I actually really did not like school. So I went to art school to get around the system to get my college education. And then decided to go where I naturally fit, which was retail. During that about 20 years of being in retail, I found the lack of opportunity for growth. I had a wonderful mentor. She was a woman in a previous job that allowed me to grow very quickly and successfully. But once that shift changed for me and she was no longer my boss and mentor, I realized how important she really was to my growth. Mm-hmm. And so I took my own fate in my hands, and instead of putting a large amount of money on a home that I had saved for, I put the down payment on my life. And I started my business at the ripe age of 30, having no clue what I was doing. And all I figured out was how to incorporate and asked people for help on making sure that what little bit of assets I had stayed safe. So that was a priority of mine. And then I learned my way through starting a business. And now all those challenges that I faced, I help others to avoid them as much as they can and not recreate the wheel. But I also found out that through the process that doing what you love really will be not only rewarding more than any other job is, but also it will pay you in the end. And that was a really hard lesson to learn through that process was, because I was about the corner office, before I left corporate America, and then to be out on my own and not making anywhere near the kind of money I was making. How was I going to be successful? The terminology of success is money, isn't it? It's not about being able to leave the country for 4 weeks and be by yourself or be with people that you love and travel the world. And that's what I then realized that I created for myself was a different definition of success and giving myself that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. First, backing up to the fact that you understood that self-investment was the best investment that you could do. And I know that, from a professional background, I know that you're, really acclimated and really good with all the tangible investments of the world, helping people in so many different ways with your background and wealth and understanding that. But you pouring into yourself and saying, wait a minute, my life is out of alignment with what it looked like on paper,
Yeah, exactly.
And I appreciate you pointing that out because I always say as an entrepreneur, and I have this whole acronym, which I won't go into now, this TB Pavori, but the I in that acronym is about being an investor. And the investment is in yourself first. So you could literally be a little selfish, take care of you, fill your own dang on cup before you go pouring out to other people. So you have something to give to them in the first place. And you're not giving from this empty, hard, depleted space where you end up becoming someone who regrets the fact that you just gave your time or your energy or your resources to someone because you yourself were so depleted, even if it was just emotionally and it had nothing to do with finances. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's a great lesson to learn. And people really take a long time to learn that. I think I still have my days where I'm still trying to figure that out. As balanced as I may sound, I think we all kind of get ourselves we get in our own way too often to take that time to see that there's other options and there's other benefits of taking some time for yourself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I tell people all the time, they're like, "Oh, Naketa, you're a balance and relationship advisor. Your life must be perfect." I'm like, "No, you're perfect when you're in the ground, when you're dead." Because then you know what I mean? Like, yes. Then you can't make any more mistakes. Like, I make mistakes every day. I have I'm a balance expert and a relationship expert because it is top of mind. It is the thing that keeps me awake at night. And I'm constantly thinking of new, better, more creative, more innovative, and simple ways to fix things in my own life, let alone, the life of my clients and other people that I attract, or I have the honor and opportunity to be in their space. Like, I'm constantly thinking about it. There are totally mornings, I agree with you, Kristie, so much. There are mornings where I'm like, oh, that did not start right. Right? And 4 hours later, right? Can I get a do-over? And 4 hours later, you're like, what happened to the time? And you know what I mean? And then the next day is a blank slate and a new space for you to walk into it. And one of the things you and I were talking about previously is sometimes starting in those blank spaces, those blank slate spaces, if you will, not just professionally, which is super, super important, but also personally. And I know that I could talk about it for days with so many people that were platonic friends, professional, what I call pro friends, as well as intimate relationships that blocked me for some way, somehow, because I held on to those seasonal or reason-based people. And I was hoping that they would be lifetime partners, for whatever reason. And they just weren't. And it started to stunt my growth. Have you had any kind of experience with that?
Well, it's really funny that we're, having this conversation and heading into Christmas because that is, and the holiday season, but it's my celebration is Christmas. And over a decade ago, when I started my business, it was my first year in business, and I was with the the gentleman at the time that was my boyfriend, and we had moved in together. Let's set this up correctly. Quit my job and move into an apartment with a new relationship, something I kind of swore I never would do, with no ring, no marriage, nothing, just us, let's like live together type of thing. And trials and tribulations of also the day after I quit my job, he and I had a head-on car accident. So I was in basically traction for what was the month that I was supposed to be finding us a new home. So getting around the neighborhood with a boot on my foot and the, mentality of being broken. So I was physically broken, but I was also mentally broken more than I realized, because this is not how I thought I was going to start my business, right? So a year and a half later, 2 years later, we're driving home from Christmas celebrations with my family. It's a year later, and I asked how he thought I was doing with the business. And his response to me was, I think you're doing okay. I think you have a lot more to learn. And I went, okay. It's not really the supportive answer that I had wanted. But what I realized that he was giving me was support in the ways that he could at that time. So fast forward, we are no longer together. I break off an engagement in the middle of the Great Depression of our time. I am still in business for myself. My business crashes. I do the dead man's float. I look at how to figure out how to pay for my rent, let alone my heat. And all I realized a year after all that distress, I understood that I could do this on my own. I still own my own business. I got through it. I'm now fast forward with 3 homes, and 2 of which are investment properties that pay for the third one. I'm doing great, and I'm doing it on my own. And all of those things I thought I needed as support, even though I'm a words of affirmation girl, I need to hear that I'm doing a good job, but especially from those that I love and I respect,
Yeah.
And understanding and hearing that or figuring it out, I should say, is that I could do it on my own. I almost wish I hadn't had him in the beginning, only because it was a false sense of security, I think. And understanding that I could really do this without another crutch of any sort. I wish I would have had that change. I wish I would have given myself that opportunity to pause on the relationship, stay in my apartment that was awesome and really inexpensive. And I had everything planned out for just me. And I know that I still would have succeeded. So I just, I take that time and I cherish that, but it took me a long, long time to figure that out.
Yeah.
Long time.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So I have to ask you, because I know for so many of the other women that are listening right now, they're coming from so many different backgrounds. Many of them are what I call careerpreneurs. So they're just like us. They are professionals. They have a professional license, certification, degree, something that they've rocked with for a while. And they are also entrepreneurs that may have just shifted that skill set professionally to their entrepreneurial endeavors, right? And many of them are just entrepreneurial, not just, but are also entrepreneurial leaders inside of a larger company, but they are using and utilizing all of their entrepreneurial spirit to advance that company as leaders within this larger, conglomerate of sorts. And with that said, they're all dealing with that same thing that you and I both have talked about, behind the curtain, so to speak, inside our own little private kitchen conversations around, that Monday morning quarterbacking the Sunday night game. God, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, why didn't I do things differently? I could have been so much further in our life. And at the same time, we both agree and are more mature, reflective. We've done the work. We've had the therapy. We've had the advisors. We've had the coaches stuff, because we've invested in ourselves that way. We're able to say, everything that is as it should be. And we needed to go through that. As much as we would have liked to rewind it and, kind of delete that scene, so to speak. It was really important for you to be in this really amazing space you are right now, to be accepting of even the next pivot that's coming for your life, and not feel like it has to be filled with regret, that you're going to move forward, because we have some, some amazing things you guys don't know about Kristie. She has some great stuff coming up at the top of the new year, and we won't go deep into that now because we're going to have her back and we're going to talk about it. Woo! But with that, because of all the stuff that you were able to deal with in that kind of unhealthier relationship, it allows you to be in this space where you're not, I'm not regretting the fact that I'm an evolving Michelle Obama's becoming woman who can change because I'm worthy of changing and walking into something new. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I don't regret anything. By the way, folks, for everybody's knowledge, Naketa knows this. This guy is still one of my best friends to this day. He is still very a part of my life. It's just learning, and accepting and taking all of it in and reflecting and saying it's not the would have, should have, could have. It's maybe actually it was a could have, but it was more about, wow, I probably could have done it then, but I chose not to. And now I'm choosing to, and look how great it's going. And to your point, Naketa, what had that taught me to be where I am today, I think is big as well. So I don't have a should have, could have, wish I had. I don't think it's there. I learned from every single piece of that relationship. And I hope that he does too. I think we both did.
Yeah, no, that's powerful that you can be in a space of a healthier, different relationship and not necessarily holding each other to kind of past expectations as intimate partners. Now you've evolved in another level of friendship. And some people won't have that blessing to, be able to take an X forward into their present, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a different way. I mean, I think that speaks volumes that you both are able to do that in such a healthy and beautiful way. And for those who are listening who are like, I ain't taking that knucklehead with me nowhere, that's okay too, especially if the wound is still fresh, that's okay. I know Kristie didn't just immediately be like, okay, I'm cutting you off that way, but we'll just be BFFs tomorrow. Like, there was space in between that.
There was, absolutely.
Yeah, which is awesome. So I have to ask you before we go, because you and I can go for hours and days, which is why you will be back. What do you do to take care of yourself, to just give yourself permission to pause, so you can, do what you do every day to take over the world and contribute so much?
Well, I was thinking about this because there's lots of things that I do that give myself permission to pause. Sometimes I don't do them as regularly as I should. So my biggest one is the travel. I give myself no less than 2 weeks of disconnection to pretty much my quote unquote work. And I do that annually, and I get out of this country and I go somewhere else. And I learn culture and people and really engage with my surroundings. And I've been doing this for quite a long time. I've been very fortunate to do that. And that's my first biggest permission to pause, because you have to save your money to do it, right? You have to save and figure out your workload and figure out who you can trust to help you have that time and that moment. But the big other things that I need to recognize, and I think we all need to recognize, is how important self-care is on a daily basis. And whether that is today, I ran everywhere. It's cold outside. It's getting dark earlier. I have permission to sit on my couch with my dog and watch a movie or watch a series that I wanted to catch up on. That is just as important to me, because I don't do that because I don't own a TV. But the point is, that's just as important to do and give myself as it is to go to the gym every day, because that gym time is my Pilates time, which is the only time I'm going to get anywhere near close to meditating. And I don't meditate. I'm just saying that this is my inner, there's nobody else I can listen to but myself and my body. And even being in the gym with headphones on and watching the news on the elliptical is still not within me. So I need personally to do better at that. Having just come off of the 2-week vacation in a different country was a real insight to how much people everywhere else in the world really do take better care of themselves overall. And I'm not talking just eating and healthy in that way. I'm talking mentally. And I just really want to start focusing on that being okay and then not beating myself up the next day because I took that time out. So that's the two ways that I am trying to improve my permission to pause.
No, I love that. And I love that it's both sides of you because as women in business, especially ambitious women who are leading in so many different ways, again, whether it's that conglomerate leadership aspect of us or as entrepreneurs, we do wear so many hats. And there's the part of you, the world traveler hat, and there's also part of you that just needs to know how to pause when you need to feel intimate with yourself and be still. And like you said, to utilize Pilates in that way as your kind of personal meditation, spiritual connection, or reconnection time. I think that that's beautiful. And I honor you for sharing that. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
You're so awesome. So for everyone who is listening, Kristie, please tell them how to connect with you so they can get a little bit more with you, whether they want to know how to get into a lease in less than 3 hours, honey, or
that's the easy one.
Right. Yeah. Like how can they connect with you?
The company is Very Real Estate, and you can find me at veryre.com. That's the easiest one. And then the next easy one is on LinkedIn. I post multiple times through the day things that you may want to know about real estate, the Philadelphia market, what's happening just in the area, what I find is interesting. So look for Kristie Bergey on LinkedIn. And if you go to veryre.com first, you'll see a photo that matches my LinkedIn photo. So you can easily find me.
No, that's perfect. I appreciate and honor you so much for taking time out of your very full and productive, notice I did not say busy, schedule. You are an amazing woman. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I feel the same about you. Have a wonderful day and a happy holiday to you and your family.
You too. Kristie, stay right there. Oh, guys, I love you so much for welcoming in the end of your fourth quarter with us today at Balance Boldly. Thank you for taking the time to just listen, tune in, and take all of the nuggets out of Kristie Bergey's story, out of the things that I was able to share with you as a balance and relationship advisor. I appreciate you. And of course, as always, if you like what you heard today, subscribe, rate, and share this podcast. Help us to ensure that the other ambitiously bold and brave have access to these valuable life, love, and business balance tools. I appreciate you, I honor you, and I thank you. Continue on creating your balance and creating your joy. Thank you again for listening.